What's going on, everybody? Casual Fridays on Lineman Life Live. What's going on, everybody? It is your observant lineman here, Uche Nwaneri. And my goodness, it's Casual Friday. So I'm just maxing, relaxing. Didn't really look up any particular topic for today's show. And we had some cool things happen yesterday, but definitely glad you guys are in here to hang out with me for the time being. Don't know how long this one will go. Try and push it. I'm going to try and push it. Couple things I do want to look at, though. I was the Lakers got their ass knocked out the playoffs, which felt oddly satisfying for me, being a Dallas Mavericks fan. And LeBron James just did not take that shit very well, as we all have seen. That was something that was pretty petty, in my opinion, for him to just be walking off the court, not shaking hands with guys, not congratulating guys because they beat your ass. You know, I think that's pretty. It's petty when you walk away when you're defeated, because everybody shakes hands when they win. Everybody shakes hands when they win, but you know, you got to be gracious in victory and in defeat, LeBron. Come on. Damn it, man. Gotta be gracious. He looked like he was just straight up being a biatch. Crazy. Ooh. Okay. See something over here. But there's a video, actually, that I wanted to react to. Maybe I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy this. And then once we go through this video, because I held back. I didn't want to watch it until I got on the stream. This was the only thing that I actually kind of planned for today. But I did want to watch this video because the first 5 seconds I almost bust out laughing. So I was like, let me hold on to this one. We're going to take a look at this video from RDC World 1. And for a lot of y'all for people who may not know, this cat does some like crazy skits. If you ever seen those black folks doing anime skits, that's RDC World 1. So let's jump into that video real quick. I'm gonna. It's only 4 minutes. I'm gonna react to it, and then we'll get into some questions you guys got. Now remember, super chats are prioritized. But let's get into this video. This is their little skit on. This is RDC World 1 skit on how LeBron was in the locker room during halftime and after losing to the Suns in the first round. All right, let's do this. Let me make sure it's not booming on my speakers, though. All right.
Hey, LeBron. I mean, I know you mad at all, but I mean, you got to take over. You LeBron. I mean, look at Devin Booker. He taking over. Look, I mean, I'm about to lose to the Suns. The Suns. I ain't never lost first round, and I'm gonna do it to the Suns. KCP, the Suns.
I mean, I got just as many points as you.
Shut the fuck up. Say it again. Say it again.
Hey, LeBron, chill. We haven't lost yet.
Frank!
I get it.
God damn. It's a Frank.
LeBron, chill. We haven't lost yet.
Frank!
I get it. I get it.
Dennis, you got 2 more quarters to score more than 4 points. Dennis, Nwaneri, you got 2 more quarters to score more than 4 points. Talk back.
Dennis Schroeder.
Hey.
Hey, that's why they look at his face. Hey, Dennis Schroeder been playing like a bum too. That shit's crazy. Dennis Schroeder has literally been playing like a bum. Guess that's why they got him out of here in ATL.
That goes to you too, Kuzma.
Okay.
Mark, that's all of you.
Like 7 foot.
Then how the hell do you still got 0? The Suns! Dunk on the goddamn it! LeBron on 3. 1, 2, 3, LeBron, goddamn it! Come on!
Kuzma, come on. Andre Drummond, get up. Come on. Caruso, come on. Look, I just want to say good shit. I know y'all played your heart outs out there. Y'all did everything y'all could. And I know y'all left it all on the floor. Kuzma, 20 minutes, 2 points. I know you left it on the floor. Caruso, 2 points too.
Yeah.
I know you left it on the floor. Drummond, I know you left it on the floor too.
I didn't play, so.
Yeah, okay, but I'm sure you left it on the floor as well. And I just want to say good shit. Thank y'all. I lost first round. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. That. Get your ass off me! Get your fucking ass off me! I lost to the Suns first round! I need help! You've been hurt for like a goddamn year! See a doctor! See a doctor!
See a doctor.
What's wrong with y'all? Dennis! 4 points at halftime?
20 at the end.
He did have 20 at the...
Said he did have 20 then.
I'm out first round! First! That shit has never happened to the Suns! The Suns! Niggas don't even know who on the Suns! Niggas don't even know what the first one. Phoenix, they don't know where he at! And after this, don't even say the word Laker! Don't say nothing wrong with Laker! Don't say Maker! Don't say Taker! If you watch the football, don't say fucking Baker! KCB! You thought I forgot about you? You thought you was doing something this game, huh? Nigga, you had 0 last game! I ain't never gonna forget that! Dennis? 0! Nobody, y'all made history! We all made history! I'm out first round, y'all niggas had 0 last game! And this is the sorriest best team I done ever seen! But y'all don't gotta worry about that no more. Cause all y'all lost. And I better not see y'all no more. Y'all better not even post on Instagram. You. Damn it!
That's funny. That is funny. Lakers went out game 6 to the damn Suns. The Suns? Hell no. That shit crazy. That shit crazy. Crazy. Okay. Oh, okay. I got we got a $10 super chat here from Mexican Iron Man. What's up, brother? Mexican Iron Man says, stadiums this year will be back in full effect. Money shall be flowing again. Question, does the NFLPA have leadership and conviction to fight to extend and resolve the ridiculous limited window for concussion support? Okay, so they do have a protocol in place in the NFL. There is a protocol in place that is supposed to be followed once a player's been diagnosed to have a concussion. I had one concussion officially in the NFL, and what they do is they have you take, before you can be involved in any football activities, you have to be able to you have to take a concussion protocol baseline test. So what that means is you take a baseline test that basically lays out the level of cognitive synchronicity that you have. Like you will take a test where you have to remember words. You have words that flash in front of you on a screen, and then you'll have to remember what those words were and put them in the blanks, but that'll be like at a different portion. So you'll watch these words go by like twice. It'll flash in front of your face, and then it'll move you on to another exercise, another quick exercise, and then after that quick exercise, you'll have to repeat back those words or type them back or pick them because they'll be listed out. There'll be a bunch of words that are listed out. You have to pick what words you are actually going to, or the words that were actually shown to you out of the ones that weren't. So you have to pick the words, and you'll go through a number of different tests like that where they're basically testing how quick you can react to colors. So they'll have you tap one button when the color and the word are matched on the screen. So it'll say red and it'll be in red. You tap one button. It'll say like green, but it'll be in blue, and you tap a different button. And these words will flash quickly. Like they'll be going, fairly quickly while you're watching it, and you have to react and pick the right words. So that, you do that test, and that test generally takes about 20 minutes to take, 30 minutes to take, and it sets your baseline for your cognitive skills. So your cognitive rating is set. So the thing is when you have a concussion, you're not allowed to be back on the field until you reach your baseline number of cognitive skill, your baseline rating. So, quick story. When I got my first concussion in the NFL, officially, which I'm sure there were more, but that one was the first one that was actually diagnosed. I actually was not able to pass my baseline test for a little bit over 4 weeks. And this was a concussion that I got in the second and last game of the season. So I missed the last game of the season. I got it against none other but those fucking New England Patriots. And I didn't play in the final game against the Tennessee Titans. That was 2012, 2013 season. So, I when I got that concussion, like I didn't get knocked out, but I got something. I had like a flash, like a white flash when I got hit because a helmet hit me under my chin strap. It hit like it hit like bare jaw, like a helmet just smacked right under it and just whipped my head around. So like I wasn't knocked out, but I was like completely out of it. And when I went in to go take the cognitive test, because it was ridiculous. When I got to the locker room the next day, Mike Ryan, our head trainer, he actually came to me and was like, Uche, how you feeling? He's like, we're going to have to get you to pass that baseline test, maybe get you back on the practice field by Friday. And this is on Monday. This is like day after coming in. So I'm like, I looked at him and I had shades on kind of like these, actually. Kind of like these. They were dark. Couldn't really see, like it's for protecting your eyes from light, because I didn't think necessarily that it was true, but it is true. When you get a concussion, you can't have light around you. That's very painful, very weird feeling. But I looked at him with a straight face, just like this, and then I started laughing. I was just like, yeah, right, motherfucker. You can go tell all of them, head coach, GM, owner, Tell them I ain't playing this week because I'm not playing. What you mean? Be back on the practice field by Friday. Are you serious? I can't even like walk in this room right now. Like, no, it's not happening. I don't care what they're asking you or what they're asking you to come ask me. Just let them know I ain't playing. They might as well get whoever's backed up, whoever's behind me, get them ready. They gonna be playing because I ain't playing. I just told them that. I didn't show up to practice. I didn't show up to practice that week. I didn't do shit. I went and took the cognitive exam, the cognitive baseline test on Wednesday. I didn't get past like the third question because I started getting nauseous and dizzy. And then I took it again on Friday, and I got halfway through the test before I got nauseous and dizzy. And then I didn't take it again until the next Friday, which would have been what? That would have been 1 week. That would have been almost 2 weeks after the concussion. Finished it, barely. Like, I started getting sweaty and nauseous right at the end. Finished it, did not get back to, was still like, I mean, I was easily like 20 to 30% below the cognitive baseline that I had. So, 2 months go, I'm sorry, 2 weeks go by and it's almost a month. I mean, I figure it was about a month because this was like beginning of February, right before Valentine's Day. I went in and I passed the baseline test, and I passed it pretty. I actually think a few of my skills were actually a little bit better than my baseline. Like they were all. I think everything was a little bit better than baseline, but the baseline is the mark, so you have to get back past at least baseline. And then I was cleared. Now this was almost a month. This was over a month from when I got the concussion. So can you imagine how players who were able to come back a week, I guess everybody heals differently. Everybody's body is different. Granted, but it should take more than 2 weeks. It should take more than 2 weeks to come back from a concussion. It should take at least 2 weeks to come back. If you are like the fastest. Because, I didn't feel good. I didn't really feel good at all, like, until the third week. I felt kind of sickly, like, over the first few weeks of having the concussion. I felt a little bit sickly. And I really, really did not feel like my normal self until that, like, fourth week. Then I started feeling a little bit more, like, aware. Like, there's some times when if you've ever had a concussion, I don't know. It's weird. It's feel like you're not so aware of yourself. You kind of go into these I went into like these moments of blankness where I literally would just kind of just stare off and be like, it was like my eyes were open, but I wasn't seeing nothing. I was just kind of staring off into nothingness. Weird. But they do have a system that is set up, and I think that baseline system is actually not a bad system. It's a good system. The problem with the NFL is that they have terrible post-career medical benefits for players. You don't have any. You get insurance for about 5 years, which is really the best kind of insurance there is because they pay for everything. You don't really pay for nothing. But outside of that, NFLPA didn't do a very good job of negotiating jack shit. And now we're finding out that a lot of the cognitive, obviously like with the race norming, a lot of it has been set up so that the players who are the majority of the league actually cannot benefit from it, which is, it's an example of things being baked into the system. That's how they baked in the money-saving tactic by not having to pay out the majority of players who will absolutely be dealing with brain trauma and damage later in their life, degenerative brain disease later in their life. So I think that's about as full an answer as I can give. But I appreciate that $10 super chat. Mexican Iron Man, much appreciated, my brother. Much appreciated. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Always sell out during CBA time. Oh, no problem, Mexican Iron Man. Appreciate you, bro. You know I got you, bro. Let's see. We got John Henderson getting slapped in the John Henderson getting slapped in the face by a trainer before a game was pregame as a pregame ritual. Did Henderson let you slap him in the face? Oh, Big John, man. Big John, I love that cat. Big John, that was before he was getting slapped in the face before I got to Jacksonville. I think that was like 2006, I think it was, where he did that. But no. I did not slap him in the face. But I do have a pretty funny story about Big John Henderson. Maybe I'll tell it to y'all one day. But no, I didn't slap him around. I wouldn't try to. Let's see here. What else you guys got in here? Remember, okay, here we go. It's like going against Henderson and Marcus Stroud in practice, against him in games, after FJs, free agent. Man, these are some great questions. It'd be even better if there was a super chat form, but no, I appreciate the question. Jason Gaines says, also, what was it like going against Henderson and Stroud in practice? Man, I tell you what, those guys made me into a better player. Especially, and look, John Henderson they both had these unique kind of traits with how they played. I think Big John played more in that traditional big body defensive end. And these guys were not like fat guys. Like Big John and Marcus Stroud were like lanky, long arm, long leg, athletic. Like they was real deal. I think Big John was more of that sit down defense, run stuffer. He was a guy who he was so big. I mean, these guys were so big. They're fucking massive. I mean, people think I'm big, but I look up when I'm talking to Big John and Marcus. Big John was he was a great run stuffer. He got his great hand extension. He kept guys locked out a lot. That's why it was hard to like block him because his arms were so long and he's so far away from you when he's extended that if you don't get your hands under his and get into him first, it's hard to win that battle. And he's good at shedding. So, I mean, you're going to be stuck. He's going to stand you up and then he's going to shed you. Now, Marcus Stroud, on the other hand, was a better athlete than John Henderson was. So Stroud didn't necessarily play it all the time with that arm extension game, with that lockout game at the line of scrimmage. Stroud actually tried to penetrate the line and get to the other side because he could turn his hips smoothly enough to do it. And he had great strength. I mean, the dude had, and he had more snap than Big John did. He had more snap in his movements. He could move like with that quick twitch, just like that. Big John had it, but Big John was in that straight line mode with it. Stroud could move left, right. He could swim. He could flip his hips, everything at the line of scrimmage. So it made it way harder. I felt like it was harder to block Stroud because of that, but Big John was equally a problem. When he tried to work against the run, especially, but Stroud could pass rush too. Shit, I used to get nervous when I was a rookie playing against Stroud because he would be coming, on a crazy pass rush, and we're doing like team like half line drills and team drills, but this is practice, and I'm a rookie, so I'm really giving the scout look. I'm on the scout, so I got to do what it says on the cards when the coach brings the cards and puts them up in front of everybody in the huddle so they can see what they're doing. And I'll be like, damn, like we running another team's offense, another team's look, and you try to use your technique to the best of your ability against that. But definitely, Stroud was a threat in that pass rush too. He was a threat. He definitely was. What we got here? Let's see. Low-level players always sell out during CBA time. Look, and I know what you're alluding at with this question here. With the CBA, as far as CBA is concerned, the people who negotiate the CBA, which is not the players, but an elected representative by the name of DeMaurice Smith, a guy who is paid millions of dollars a year, a guy who has changed the rules of the NFLPA so that he cannot be removed through any kind of democratic vote, majority vote. They cannot remove him, and they actually created a smaller committee within the NFLPA that is the committee responsible for such powers as extending his reign as the head of the NFLPA. He has enriched himself. He has set the system up for the NFLPA so that he can manipulate and control the council, that the little small council of players who are being paid by him millions a year cumulatively, and those guys will protect his status within the NFLPA. The guy, and hindsight being 2020, the guy who actually negotiated that bunk ass concussion settlement, Seeger, he was actually in the runnings and favored, it seemed, by the players to overthrow DeMaurice Smith before this last CBA was negotiated. Now, what happened was DeMaurice Smith and a certain few players in the higher ups of the NFLPA decided to create a committee that would make it so that he wouldn't have to compete against someone else running for head of the NFLPA, because they would vote to extend his time as the head of the NFLPA, therefore making it null and void that anybody was trying to actually run for that position, because generally you could run for that position after a certain amount of years, because it's supposed to be like a 2-year thing, I believe, for NFLPA head. And with DeMaurice Smith and his situation, what they did was they extended him themselves, and the guy who wanted to who actually had some pretty good ideas in terms of what he would fight for in the CBA agreement with the NFL. One, he was going to fight for guaranteed contracts, and of course that did not happen. But this guy was basically, unable to race against DeMaurice Smith, because the players would vote for who they wanted to be the new head of the NFLPA, and then they would vote for the executive committee of the NFLPA. So once you get into the good old boys club up there at the top of the NFLPA, you basically work together with DeMaurice to make sure that he never loses power, and that's what they've been doing. So he's been in power, and he has done relatively little for the benefit of the players, especially when it comes to post-career benefits, which is basically what the fuck you're supposed to be doing as the head of the NFLPA, is setting up an agreement that gives, security not only for the present players, but even more importantly, security for the players once they finish playing football. And he has done none of that. He has literally failed at that, and somehow he's still the head of the NFLPA. So no, it's not the players at the lower part of the rung who are the issue. Those guys, look, we have contingency plans that we use for those guys, and they still managed to negotiate a terrible deal with the NFL, and guys are paying for it without even really knowing. Because, I mean, you know, look, if you read the CBA, it's a thick-ass book. It's a thick book of all these different fucking rules. It's not very coherent. It's in lawyer language. So it's very, like, it can get convoluted and confusing, but there have been people who have picked it apart, and there have been people who have actually written articles that show you that these motherfuckers are literally corrupt, and they are not working for the players because they're actually losing more in the long run of this new CBA. It's out there. All you gotta do is Google it. They nickel and dime the fuck out of the CBA, the owners. I just don't understand. I don't understand how the Players Association can really look at the situation and not try to take advantage of the owners as much as they can. I would be trying to annihilate them in negotiations. And if y'all don't want to agree, then we're not going to play football this year. Good luck. Because you know what? We all going to be broke by the end of the year. we all going to be broke. You motherfuckers going to be broke. We going to be broke. It's going to be good. Like, it's okay. That's how I would approach it. I'd approach it like, y'all are going to do what the fuck we want to do, or we're going to fucking leave. We're going to walk the fuck out. You go find more players. Go do that. We saw how that worked before when you had the replacements in there. So, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, they don't really, I don't, you know, it's hard. It's hard to really put into words how, like, completely, how bogus, especially some of the things I know, some of the things that I've been told by players who, like, are in the meeting room, who have been in the meeting rooms. It's like, it'll blow your mind. It's like the people that you thought would have the integrity to actually, like, look out, to try and look out for the players. They ain't got no integrity at all. I'm not going to, you know, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to say their names and just put it out there, because but beyond hearing it from guys who were there, which, I mean, that's a secondhand accounting for me. You know, the person telling me having the first-hand account. Besides that, like, these motherfuckers, like, these are guys who were, like, on the front of everything. They on the covers of everything. And they're taking money under the table so that they can get their team to agree to a CBA agreement that really is taking money out of the players' pockets in the long run and after they finish their career. It's just wild. It's just wild. It's all about money. Don't ever get it twisted. It's all about money. These motherfuckers claim to have values, claim to have principles, but at the end of the day, everybody got some number, clearly, because they had a number, and that's the only reason why why that lockout ended in 2010. So it's because cats were getting paid under the table to get their teams to ratify. That's plain as day for me, because, I mean, like I said, I was privy to that information. So, anyways. What else we got here? Hey, Uche, when you played, did you have a preference for facing 4-3 or 3-4? Did the individual matchups matter? Oh, man. I'll tell you what. I fucking hated playing against 3-4 defenses. I hated playing against 3-4s because sometimes, you know, with the 4-3, it's like a 4-3 defense is so easy to, like, know where things are going to go, because they have to play certain strengths to certain sides. There are guys who are not going to play on one side of the ball, or who aren't going to play on both sides of the line, like both ends of the line. You know that their strength on their defense is on one side. And, you know, you can manipulate a defense with different looks and different formations, when you know that they keep their strength to one side. They play their strong side to one side. They don't move it around to match the offense's strong side, because the offense can change its strong side in many different ways. You can have the strength based on the hash. You can have the strength of your formation based on your tight ends. You can have the strength of your formations based on your wide receivers. You can have the strength of the formations based on your running backs if you want. And for defenses, that can sometimes be hard to figure out how to defend that, because they may be thinking that our strength is going to be to the right because we have a tight end to the right, but we got two receivers to the left. So the left is actually the strength, not the right. We got one receiver, or we have one receiver and one tight end on one side, and we got a running back offset from shotgun on the quarterback's left with two receivers. Well, strength's on the left side, not the right. Some defenses will set their strength to the tight end. They'll say wherever this tight end is, that's where their strength is. But it may not always be that way. So with 3-4 is like the opposite, because it's hard to always know where the strength of their defense is in 3-4, because the outside guys aren't always defensive ends. They're linebackers usually. They're slashers. So you got you have to then be able to decipher the safeties, or the safeties giving away where their strength is, or where their heavy side is. So they bring blitzes down the strong side. If they do a strong side blitz, how do you cover that? How do you pick that up? In the run game, much harder to run against a 3-4, because one, linebackers have free roam because they're uncovered, and two, the guards in versus a 3-4, if you're on the backside, you will always have to check the nose with the center. If you're on the backside of the run, sometimes on the front side of the run, that front side guard will have to chip the nose up to their defender. But it's hard, because often linebackers in 3-4, they come downhill fast. They're like, and it's hard. It's a much different dynamic. You have to pay attention to two things at one time versus a 3-4, and they can, and there's only there's a very small varying difference between stopping, continuing on your angle to block a guy who's at linebacker depth, or extending out your zone blocking to the defensive end who's wide as shit because he takes one step inside of the tackle, which is kind of like a trigger. If he takes that one little small step inside, if his angle turns a little bit when he takes that step inside, then as a guard, I have to go pick him up. I have to pick up that end, and he's far as shit out there. And then my tackle is going to actually, as I would with the center, my tackle is going to chip up off that defensive end who stepped inside up to the backer. Now, sometimes it can get a little fuzzy in there, because you're trying to, I have my eyes on the linebacker in my stance, but I have to take an angle to my right, and I have to peek at that defensive end. If he comes inside, I have to go take him. If he doesn't, I have to still stay on that angle and get up to that backer who's going to end up coming to me. So you'll feel like he's behind you a little bit when he's really going to end up meeting you, because the play is extending outside. Now, sometimes that DN comes inside and that linebacker comes downhill quick. And it's like, who the fuck do I block? Because you got to take him, but he's coming too. So, it can get a little bit, that can be tricky sometimes in the run game. But, that's how it is. Ricky Pinky. Ricky, what up, man? Ricky's one of my guys from Purdue. We went to Purdue together. He ran track out there. You did track, right, Ricky? Yeah, you did track. You were running. But no, man, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out on the channel a little bit. Always good to see a fellow Boilermaker out there. You already know. But yeah, that's the difference between 4-3 and 3-4. Let's see. Did you hate going versus Mike Zimmer's defense? Mike Zimmer, what defense did he coach again? Whose defense did he have? Because I don't remember. Ricky, man, appreciate you, brother. Hell yeah, man. Hope you doing well, man. You out in Florida? You out in Florida? I think you was out in Florida last time I chopped it up with you, right? The Bengals. Oh man, no. Bengals defense was not complicated. Bengals, Steelers, not very complicated. Bengals were actually in a 4-3, if I'm not mistaken. But Bengals, what was his name? What was the defensive tackle that they just released? I forget his name. Oh, you in Texas now, Ricky? Shit, I'm from Texas. Shit, I'm from Dallas. But who was it that they just released? I forget his name. I just saw an article on this cat that they were looking to. Yeah, Geno Atkins. There you go. Geno Atkins was the best defender on the Bengals defense, for a long time. Every time I played against the Bengals, he was the guy I had to block a lot. And him and Pecco. But yeah, Geno Atkins was the best defensive tackle that I played against. Comparatively, him and Jarrell Casey were the two best defensive tackles I played against my entire career. I gotta put Albert Hainsworth in there too, because Albert Hainsworth, when I had to play against him in my early years as a player, my second and third year, my second and third year, that dude was a beast because he was playing in contract years. But Geno Atkins overall, him and Jarrell Casey were probably the best. A lot of other guys I was really disappointed with. I was disappointed with Ndamukong Suh because I damn near bullied that cat in the game I played against him. I didn't really understand why he was playing so subdued, like he was on a sedative or something. But he had his worst game of the season against me, statistically speaking, and just energy wise. I was pushing that cat around. Who else? Ooh. Oh, the Cowboys. Who was the defensive tackle from the Cowboys back in 2011? He was I forget his name too. Defensive tackle. He was a Pro Bowler. I forget his name. Let me see if I can find him. I think it was 2010 Dallas Cowboys. Whoops. Roster. Bum. Not Marcus Spears. Hold on. Jay Ratliff. There he was. Jay Ratliff was another guy who I thought was a huge disappointment when I played him. I thought he was going to be better. I dominated his ass too. I dominated that cat. There was one play. Oh man, this was like the play. This was a crazy play because even my people who were at the game, they remembered this play in particular the same way I remembered it because I asked them if they saw it after the game. My family and my friends in Dallas, because we were playing in Dallas, and they all saw it the same way that I saw it. Like there was one play where, we were running, we ran a pass play, and I snatched this motherfucker up by his shit, and I just had him like in a like it was in like when you grab somebody by their shirt and lift them up off the ground like that. I like had him snatched up like that, and I turned my head because I had him so locked down that I turned my head to look and see where my other guys were, and there was nobody. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see nobody, and then I heard the whistle, and I heard like a whole bunch of bodies falling over. And I turn around and like 6 yards behind me, These guys are all piled up on David Garrard, sacking him. But I'm literally still at the line of scrimmage holding this cat, Ratliff, like stoned him out. Like he's smacking my arms. He can't get me off of him. Like that was the kind of day it was against him. So, disappointed. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler. I thought he was going to be better. He wasn't very good at all. Wasn't very good at all. Let's see. Let me see what you guys got here. Man, y'all better start giving me some of these questions in super chat form because, there's some great questions. I want to go through them. But, damn. Support the channel. Let's see here. I love the war of attrition that goes on in the trenches. Patriots run a 3-4. Let's see. Oh shit! Hey Ricky, Ninkovich out there? Ninkovich out there? Ninkovich is in Texas. Is he living out there? Or he just visited. Ninkovich ain't living out there, is he? I'm from Dallas, but I feel like I just don't feel like I got any reason to move back to Texas. My family's out there, my parents out there, my siblings and stuff, but shit, I can talk to them on the phone or on a video call. I ain't been to Texas so long, I don't really feel like going back. I ain't never really missed it like that either. Shoot, even though I am a Texan. I know Villarreal's out there. I know Brandon Villarreal's down there too. I know Villarreal's out there. Villarreal's been I think he's been coaching. Yeah. I was talking to him about joining my consulting firm because we were doing some work out in Japan for I did some work out there for 2 years in a row working with their teams, their semi-pro teams. And I talked with him about it in case we went back down again because I went with a couple of my teammates 2 years in a row, and then if they had brought us back for a third year, then I would have had Villarreal with me. I would have had a couple of cats with me. Couple of cats. What were your goals when you're in the NFL? Do you ever want to make a Pro Bowl? Yeah, it's crazy. Like, this is the thing. This is what I learned as an NFL player going forward, in my career. Because there was let me see. I got all AFC honors 3 years, 2 years in a row, and then 3 out of 4 years. I got first team all AFC South two years in a row, and then I got first team all AFC South a third year out of 4 years. And in 2011, the year that Maurice Jones-Drew won the rushing title with 1,700 yards rushing, which I have one of the balls from the game signed by him from that game when he won the rushing title, and actually became the all-time leading rusher in Jacksonville history in that same game. I actually, the Jaguars were actually doing promo for me, Mercedes Lewis, and Maurice Jones-Drew to go to the Pro Bowl. They would play these big advertisements on the Jumbotrons during commercial breaks, and it would have highlights of Mojo. Then it would have some highlights of Mojo where I'm blocking right in front of them, and they had my name at the bottom, so they would be promoing from me, Mercedes Lewis, and from Maurice Jones-Drew to get Pro Bowl votes. So, basically they'd be telling people in the stadium, go online, vote for these guys to make it to the Pro Bowl. The newspapers in Jacksonville, the beat writers were talking about, Maurice, of course, is going to the Pro Bowl, but here is, Mercedes has like 10 touchdown catches, and Uche Nwaneri has been playing at an elite level all year, yada, yada, yada. So there was a push. There was a push by the team and the organization to actually get me into the Pro Bowl. But, when you play in Jacksonville, you're playing in a small market. You're not going to the Pro Bowl unless you are a, literal, game changer for the, in the national media's eyes. Mercedes Lewis had 10 touchdown catches at tight end. That's more than any other tight end in the NFL that year. So he's going to the Pro Bowl. His name is going to be out there. The media is going to put his name out there. Maurice Jones-Drew was the rushing title champ. He was the leading rusher in the NFL, and he'd already been to 2 Pro Bowls in a row. So he went to 3 Pro Bowls in a row. 3 All-Pros, 3 Pro Bowls, and the rushing title. So he's going. Me, I gave up half a sack. But that's pretty much the extent of the stats that you can really go through on the O-lineman. I gave up half a sack. I gave up 11 or 18 pressures on the entire year. And no, my bad. 11 pressures. No, my bad. 11 hits. 11 hits on the quarterback. So half a sack on the offensive line that gave up 45. I gave up 0.5. That's 1. Half a sack, 11 hits on the quarterback for the whole season, and no penalties at all. I think I was ranked at the top of offensive guards. Surely, I don't know about offensive linemen as a whole, but it's going to take a little bit more. If I was in Dallas playing for the Cowboys instead of playing for the Jaguars with that kind of grade out, then I would have been in the Pro Bowl damn near every year of my career. Real talk. I'm quite certain about that. But I was in Jacksonville. Nobody's voting for Jacksonville players to go to the Pro Bowl. How many players? It took an entire defense of ballers in 2017 to get more than 1 or 2 guys into the Pro Bowl for Jacksonville. It took a lot, and it took them getting to the AFC title game. So got Ricky Pinky here, official. Ricky Pinky official channel. Ricky Pinky, again, for those of you who don't know, Ricky was a friend of mine from college. We both went to Purdue. He was on the track team. I was on football squad. So much love to him. Says, give followers an insight in what it takes to make the collegiate level. Kids these days don't realize how difficult it is. Whew. No, you're right. I think, it's crazy. It's one thing to get a scholarship to college. It's another thing to keep your scholarship and actually develop into a good player. I think that the college level is playing at the collegiate level. You really do have to have a lot of raw talent because you're more raw. Obviously, you're raw going into college. There's going to be a little bit of a specimen that they're going to mold and they're going to build into something. But you have to have talent there. You have to have instincts there. You have to have skill. You have to have skill. You can't, it's not because you're big. That don't mean you're going nowhere. That don't mean nothing. There are plenty of guys who are big that aren't good at football. There are plenty of guys who are strong that ain't good at football. So it doesn't really matter about your strength and your size. It matters more about your ability to there's some intangibles you have to have in way of your awareness, your agility, your ability to recognize things and to see things 1 or 2 times and then know how to react. And those are things that in high school you have inherently or you don't. So a lot of times guys will get scholarships because they show that ability to make plays, to like find the ball, to react to the ball, to get to the quarterback. Even if their skills and their actual techniques they're using are dog shit, they still have you can see their natural flow of talent, natural athletic ability that they have to make things happen. And hell, that was back when I was in high school. Now they training cats to get into college, so you begin to find out a little bit quicker if a guy is really any good or not as it pertains to those fundamental skills you're going to need to make it to the collegiate level. Like when I was playing in high school, shit, this was what, 1998 to 2000, 1998 to 2002. It was not the same. It really wasn't the same. Like they had film, yeah, but a lot of times, your coaches who are your high school coaches, I mean, these are guys who just do it, it's almost like a gig for them, because while they are high school coaches full time or full time and teachers, they're not, these guys didn't play in college themselves. These guys didn't play professional football. So it's going to be much harder for them to, really polish or progress anything in way of talent that they have on their team. You're going to have the good players and you're going to have the bad ones. And that's really where it's at. That's it. That's as far as it goes. So, if you were good, you stood out and you made plays. And, you had a much better chance of getting to a college. Shit, dude, my high school was like the worst high school in our district, second to worst, second to last, ranking every year. We the only ones, but my high school is the only ones out of all these other high schools in our district. I think 9 schools total. 2 schools that won state championships back to back in the third ranked district in the state of Texas. Third ranked, my district, the third ranked in the state of Texas. Two back to back state championships coming out of our district. 2 out of 3 years. Went to 3, won 2. And out of all the 9 teams, our team was the only one that had players in the NFL. And it was me, Melvin Bullitt, and Jacob Lacey. We ended up making it to the NFL. And we weren't successful in high school as a high school football teams, but again, it didn't matter. That wasn't the point. That's not what got us there. Yeah, HISD's number 1 in Texas, and GISD would come in that motherfucker and blow their ass out year in and year out. Garland High School blew out Katy, and then the next year Mesquite High School blew out Katy. And Mesquite went back to back years, and damn near, if they hadn't lost their best player to a torn ACL, they would have beat them in the third consecutive state championship game if they had him. So, that it be what it be, man. We got $9.99 for Mexican Iron Man. $9.99 for Mexican Iron Man. He says they got Uche asking questions, all Game of Thrones Inquisition 60-minute style. P.S. Don't go back to Texas. Stay here. We need you in the Southeast. Hail. Nah, man, I ain't got no plans on going back to Texas. Not to live. I mean, I love Texas, but I kind of got a problem with Texas right now. I got a problem with Texas. The shit is getting, they doing some crazy shit out there. I mean, I don't remember it being that wild when I was young as far as, I won't even say it. We'll just leave it at that. What else we got here? USFL. What is the USFL? Is that a thing? I never heard of it. What is USFL? Mark, I ain't never seen that. Let's see. Oh, y'all talking about the this is a Fox. Oh, that spring football league. Okay, yeah. So I don't know, man. You know, look, I like the idea of a feeder league to the NFL. I think that you could actually, I think to the benefit of players, I think you could actually do some good by having another league that actually operates as a feeder league to the NFL, where you can have guys go from one league to another, like the minors to the majors. I think that you could, if you could do something like that, you could actually get more players. You could actually up the percentage of players that actually make it to the NFL. Because some guys have the talent to play in the NFL, but they hadn't been coached at the position that they were at. They maybe switched position and hadn't really gotten the position yet, hadn't really locked in mentally to the position and understand how it works. I know I had a former teammate, Ray Williams, who was like that. He was a receiver his entire college career at Purdue. And then his senior year, they moved him to cornerback. And, I mean, the guy, physically, he could have been an amazing cornerback. He was 6'2", 6'3", long arms, track speed, and just, but he was still trying to learn how to play cornerback by the time he graduated. So when he actually got signed as an undrafted free agent to the New Orleans Saints, but, it didn't last very long. I think for a guy like that, you send him down to like a XFL and you have him play, 2 years in the XFL, maybe 3 years in the XFL, maybe he gets signed and he actually, hangs on with the team in the NFL. That's where I see the possibility of building better players comes from, for guys who don't make it into the draft. Like, the draft ain't the only way into the NFL. There's other ways into it. You may add a few more years, but that's irrelevant if you get the job done. I think the XFL did. I thought it was a bad idea to merge with the CFL. I think that's a bad idea. I think the XFL should have been openly negotiating to merge with the NFL and kind of to rekindle that NFL Europe style league and have that kind of potential backing from the NFL that they would actually work as and operate as a minor league to the NFL. I don't understand why the XFL didn't try to take that route. I certainly would have been trying to link with the NFL, because the XFL will never compete with the NFL ever in a million years. Will they ever compete with the NFL? It's just not possible. There is no football league on earth that will compete with the NFL. It is no longer possible for there to be two competing leagues. One will be a subservient league to the other, and that's the only way it can operate. Because the NFL has 101 years of built of familiarity with its audience, and they have built an empire from a media standpoint. There ain't no room for you to get games under them. So it's better to work with them, merge with them, and become more of a feeder minor league NFL team, minor league NFL league that really would stand to make a lot of money, because you're feeding players and you would be paid like a commission for every player that lasts long enough to get there to be vested in their pension. So, I think there's a way to get that done where it actually works and you actually can make football an even bigger sport. But, XFL went ahead and decided they wanted to merge with the CFL, which was a fucking mistake. So, hey. Whew. What else you guys got for me? What else y'all got for me? Let's see it. Bend over, let me see it. USL is MLS affiliate. And G League for NBA, yeah. NFL used to have NFL Europe. NFL Europe used to basically be the minor league NFL. You'd have your undrafted free agents playing in the NFL Europe, in the spring, while they weren't active for most games during the season in the regular NFL. Those guys that was basically the developmental league. So guys would develop in NFL Europe, and then maybe you start seeing some of those guys become like starters. Usually it was the linemen who would become starters as a couple of years go by from playing NFL Europe in the spring and then going through training camp and being on the practice squad or being on the team, but being inactive. Now all of a sudden these guys are active. They're on special teams, and all of a sudden they're starting the defensive tackle, starting the offensive lineman, starting at tight end. It worked like that. I mean, it worked like that. I think that's probably an ideal way to do it if you are looking at, trying to get a consistent level of player out of college. That's probably the best way to do it. Take some of those guys who aren't getting drafted and put them in the developmental league, because there's not much developing going on. I remember when I got to the NFL, I think the year before that they had shut down NFL Europe. So it literally was like I got there in 2007, so there was nothing going on. Nothing going on. Okay, we got a $4.99 super chat. $4.99 from Raymond Moreno. He says, do you think that formations like the wishbone or wing T could ever make a comeback in the NFL? Great question, Raymond. No. I don't think that they can. The NFL, the wing T and the wishbone were formations that were primarily run formations. In order for you to run the ball in that close a proximity to the offensive line, there can be no penetration at any point by the defensive line or by the outside backers in a wishbone or a wing T. If you get penetration, that destroys the run game. It's very hard to not have any penetration in the run game. And the wing T runs in such a narrow clip. You're either running options straight up, or you're running straight dives, or you're running dives with two leads. The NFL defense of today is too fast for that. You're not going to fool anybody with the option. You're not going to gain any yardage running dives unless you just have, but even more so than that, you're not making the defense actually have to move to defend you. That's why that kind of offensive formation doesn't get used in the NFL. Because when you run the ball, one of the keys to running the ball is to extending the defense past the lanes they want to defend. Sometimes that means, double teaming a defensive lineman. Sometimes that means running a linebacker past his scrape point when he's running down the hill. Those are all things that are predicated on actually making the defense move one way or the other. Wishbone goes straight at you, or it comes down the line of scrimmage. But if there's penetration, it gets knocked off. Your timing is knocked off for any kind of option. You don't have anything that you are able to really use that will make the defense move, will stretch the defensive out, that will provide natural lanes that you can run in between because you have these guys running further than they want to run, or you're cutting them out of holes that they need to get into and protect, giving your running back a lane to run through. So that is the easy way of explaining, or that's probably actually the more detailed way of me explaining how those kind of formations just don't work in the NFL. Sometimes you can catch the NFL off guard like Wildcat did, but again, it took like 1 year and Wildcat was obsolete and useless in the NFL. Teams will just shatter it as soon as they saw you running it. Ooh, let's see here. Tebow will run them? Oh, God. Here we go with the Tebow talk. Look, Tim Tebow is not he. Tim Tebow would get wrecked if he tried to run wing T or wishbone in the NFL. That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Wing T is really used at the high school level. It's not. I mean, you'll see like Army or Navy run fucking wing T or wishbone. But I mean, who the fuck do they play all year? Nobody who can defend. Nobody really like. And I mean, come on. They don't got enough good players to run any formation, so they got to run wing T and wishbone. Once again, I appreciate all you guys being in here. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri. And if you're already subscribed and you want to become a member to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member of the O-Line. Because us O-Linemen, we built different. We are built different. Anyways, what else you guys got? What else we got here? Well, what do we, we got a few minutes left here. Got a few minutes left. It's Casual Friday. I got the shades on. You know, when I got the shades on, we chilling. We chilling and grilling. That's how it is. So let me know what questions you guys got. And I'll do my best to answer them. Now, they are preferred in Super Chat format, but I'm not forcing you, and I'll answer questions that aren't Super Chat if they're compelling questions, of course. But, other than that, we do what we do. Let's see here. Who gave you your welcome to the NFL? Albert Hainsworth. Albert Hainsworth. That was my first game as a starter, my second season, winning against the Titans because of an injury. So I went in at right guard, and I was playing against Javon Curse, and Javon Curse did some out-of-control bullshit, and our knees collided. So I had a sprained MCL and a bruised bone, and so I had to play, I was injured. I came out the game. I came back in the game after halftime when our starting left guard, Vince Nwaneri, tore his ACL. So then I had to go in again with a hurt right knee and play left guard the entire second half against Albert Hainsworth in a contract year for him. It was traumatizing, not going to lie. It was a traumatizing game. I fought my ass off, but geez, I was like, I didn't know they made human beings this big. He's like 6'7", 360, but he moves like a little cat. He's agile. That's what I was dealing with. There was a picture. Let me see if I can find this picture online. Oh my God. I think I actually got it on my computer. Hold on. Let me see. This picture was like, oh, this picture brings back so many memories. Let me see if I can find it. Oh. Ooh, let me see. I think I got it here. But this was like the picture from that game. And it was like the first picture I'd ever seen of myself like in the NFL. So I was like, wow. That picture looks like looks like a guy who's struggling. It's like a guy who's having a rough one. Having a rough go bout. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. I don't see it on here. Let me see if I can find it online real quick, and I'll show it to you guys. Oh man, I laughed at myself so hard when I saw this. Oh. Let me see if I can find it. Ooh, wee. Oh, come on. Where is it? Where is it? Ooh. Let's see. This picture was like, y'all gonna laugh. If I can find it, y'all gonna laugh, I promise. Let me see. Well, got a lot of pictures of your boy, though. I like that. A lot of pictures. A lot of pictures. A lot of me blocking the shit out of motherfuckers. That's what they got. All right, let's see. Damn it, that picture has got to be. I mean, that was like a. I think it might be on. Nope. Getty Images, maybe. Oh. Huh. No, that's not it. Damn it. Okay. Well, I can't find the picture. But trust me, it is hilarious. It is hilarious. Got a lot of pictures on here. Jeez. Well, I can't find it. No worries. But I was basically flailing around trying to keep from being totally annihilated by Albert Hainsworth. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Let me see if I can find it. You said you typed in Uche versus Hainsworth? Ooh wee. There it is. First one. All right, here we go. I'm going to show y'all this damn picture. There it is. There it is. Nwaneri facing a big task. Look at that. Oh! That's my second year. I'm like, oh, God, help me. And, I got a whole, I think I got like a whole knee sleeve on this leg over here, if I'm not mistaken. Whole, like, brace on my leg. It was like, fuck. Motherfucker dying, son. Y'all got me out here struggling, son. Yeah, that was my second year. Yeah, that's it. That was my welcome to the NFL game. I was like, oh, welcome in. Take a seat. You are now in the fire. That's how it was. That's how it was. How do I say my last name? My last name is Nwaneri. The N is silent. You don't say the N in my last name at the beginning. You say Nwaneri. Now in Igbo, which is Nigerian dialect, you do pronounce the N, which is pronounced Nwaneri. But that is not appropriate in the English dialect. So you say Nwaneri with the N being silent. Because in English, you can't, it's actually not possible to say the N and the W at the same time. So they say. But anyways. All right, so that was my welcome to the NFL moment. You know, I was lucky I got to make it to the playoffs my rookie year. I was in the playoffs, and I would say my third, fourth, and fifth year, we were playing to make it to the playoffs on the last game of the season. I think we were 7-9, 8-8, and 7-9. But had we won those last games in those 3 years, we would have been in the playoffs each year. Well, 2 out of the 3 years we would have made the playoffs. But we did not. So, you know. But, overall, hey, I was in a small market. I was playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's not a team that gets a lot of national television appearances. So, I wasn't really a household name as far as offensive linemen go. But amongst my peers, I was considered one of the best in the league. Amongst the people who rated play, like Pro Football Focus, I was amongst the best in the league. So, it's not surprising at all to me when people say, I never heard of you. Well, no, you wouldn't. I played in Jacksonville for the Jaguars. But if you actually know football statistics and actually know offensive linemen and actually pay attention to it, I was one of the best when I played. I was one of the best guards, that's for sure. I was one of the best guards. I mean, I think that's, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. I've had players come up to me after games and tell me how much they've been watching me on film and seeing me manhandle cats. That was a yearly thing. So, I'm not really, my peers' opinion of me meant so much more than what the media meant, what the media thought of me or didn't know of me, because, I understood the situation I was in. So, it was never a situation where I felt like, I knew I was going to be an underrated cat because of where I was playing. So it was no big deal. You live with it. What was the worst locker room environment you were in during my career? Worst locker room environment was the year that we had Mike Mularkey as our head coach. Mike Mularkey as the Jaguars head coach was the absolute worst year of my career. Not statistically. It was fine statistically, but not as good as I was the year before and the year after that. But it was fine because I was playing with the torn. Played the entire season with a torn meniscus and torn cartilage. But I absolutely fucking hated Mike Mularkey as a head coach. Hated him as a head coach. Hated everything about that year because of him. And that was probably the most depressing year of my career because I was playing with an injury the entire year. And I didn't really get the kind of support that I thought I would get from the franchise in trying to manage my practice time. And, and it felt like I felt very isolated because, I didn't do much talking. I barely talked to people that year. I didn't really talk with my teammates a lot because I was really depressed because I was dragging my leg behind me at the facility every day of the week. My legs swole. My right knee was swollen to the point of just ridiculousness. If you looked at my right leg and my left leg in the mirror at the same time, you would be like, yo, something's wrong. Somebody needs to do something. But I just didn't really get any of that kind of, didn't really get none of that. Didn't really get no support from the franchise and making sure that a player who is one of the core players on the team, who is, a $30 million offensive lineman, you were not willing to like limit his practice time so that he could recover between games. But these guys who are fucking defensive backs and receivers and all these other positions, these guys who are playing in open space, not in the trenches, are getting, these guys are practicing once a week. And they got a sprained ankle and they're practicing once a week and watching the rest of the time and then going out and playing on Sunday. While I practiced the entire week nonstop. I didn't miss a practice. I didn't miss a game. Nothing. And I was injured the entire time from the first day of training camp when I actually did the injury. So, who do I hate more, Mike Mularkey? Mike Mularkey. There's no way. There's no other coach. I didn't even hate none of my other coaches. Mike Mularkey's the only motherfucker I hated. And I mean, I'm saying I hated because I hated it. I actually, in my mind, that's the only word that comes to mind when I think of Mike Mularkey. Why? Because his style of coaching is the reason why I got my knee injury. His style of coaching was the reason I got my knee injury. Because we were doing things that we shouldn't have been doing, and I got injured doing it. And then they didn't give a fuck when I got injured. They were like, oh, well, it's not going to get any worse. So, I'm like, oh, it's not going to get any worse, but it hurts like a fucking hell right now. What do you mean? Anyways, did I ever consider asking for a trade? I actually was getting ready to ask to be traded before they fired him. If they didn't fire him, my agent, we had already talked. If they wouldn't have fired him, I was going to ask for a trade without a doubt. I was already like starting to pack up shit in my house. Like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not staying in Jacksonville because I played this whole season hurt. And did nobody give a damn? And we fucking had we only won 2 games. Like, this dude, and they got this dude signed for a 4-year contract. Ain't no way. I'm gone. I'm not gonna be here 4 more years with this cat. I'm out of here. But they fired him a week after the season ended because I was literally telling my agent whenever March comes and we're able to talk to teams, talk to our team. And at the beginning of the NFL year, just tell them motherfuckers to go ahead and trade me. I ain't trying to be here next year. That was my whole plan. So that was that. And I mean, I'm not the guy who I'm not the guy who wants things to be done my way. I'm really a team guy, through and through. I never complained when I was hurt. I never complained. I never did anything. I never said anything negative. I never argued. I never, none of that. I just was like, if you motherfuckers ain't going to appreciate me, then I want to leave, period. Let's see. Who's the worst opponent to line up against you? Worst is in the hardest, most difficult opponent? Man, I always felt like I was my own worst enemy on the field. I didn't feel like there was ever a guy besides maybe, but even him, I didn't ever have a bad game against Albert Hainsworth, but it was always the hardest game because he was such a big motherfucker. It's so hard to block. Because once he gets into one of those moves, once he gets into a zone where he's trying to play real hard, it became difficult. It became difficult. It became difficult. Let's see here. Wyatt Davis. Who the fuck is that? Pardon me for not knowing. Something you should know about NFL players is that we don't pay attention to the next year's draft. We don't pay attention to college football players generally. Maybe the big players, the top players, but we don't really pay attention to college football. College football is boring to watch to me. It's so slow and it's so purely amateur. It is the most amateur of amateur. There is nothing even close to professional in the way college programs operate. And that includes Alabama, and that includes every other top SEC school. They don't operate like NFL teams, and they ain't got talent like NFL teams at all. They're not nearly as fast. It's not even a real, there's not even any, it's not even close. It's not even close. To me, it's not even close. Not even close. Yes, Hainsworth was a big dude. He was very, very big. But I always felt like I was my own worst enemy. Only thing that could slow me down was me. I think that, once my third year in the league is when I really just kind of like the light came on, and it was like I understood, like, and now I kind of like just had this supreme confidence where I was like able, I was playing against Pro Bowlers week in and week out. I remember we played against who we played against? We played against, what the hell is this? We played against New Orleans Saints in Jacksonville. And I was playing against their Pro Bowl defensive tackle, Greg Ellis. And, and he looked good on film. He didn't look bad. He looked good. And, I mean, I dominated this cat. That's when I knew. That was the game when I knew, and that was like the second or third game of the season. But that was the game when I knew. I was like, yeah, it's my turn now. It's my time. I'm about to take over all this shit. Because at that point, the way that when I played against them and played against Greg Ellis and just was like, I mean, I was throwing this cat around the place. Like, I wasn't even like, it wasn't even hard. It really wasn't even hard. I was like, this is becoming easy now for me. But it was different because I'm seeing things differently. I'm like I'm able to actually like look past the defensive linemen that I'm blocking and see what the linebackers are doing. I'm looking at the safeties. I see what the safeties are doing. I know I'm looking for the giveaways on certain moves and certain blitzes. I can see them. I can see all these different things happening that I couldn't see for 2 years, my first 2 years. I couldn't really recognize. And the game started to slow down vastly. Like the speed of it, the way I perceived it was the game was slowing down so much. And I could like anticipate, I could see movements even after the snap of the ball and react to them as, faster than they're actually coming at me. And it felt good. It felt like I was like in control completely of everything around me, like as far as blocking went. So that's when I really like understood where that I had, that my ceiling as a player was raising, and I was my potential and the level that I could play at was raising, and and the game became fun. It became even more fun. It wasn't panic anymore. It was like anticipation and fun. We got Raymond Moreno, another $4.99. He says, what broadcaster do you think does the best job explaining what's going on in the game? Honestly, even though I hate saying this because I don't really like this motherfucker, like, he rubbed me the wrong way when I met him, and he was a teammate for a little while, but I will give him all due respect in saying that he does really know what the fuck he's talking about when he's commentating, and he's actually kind of giving you, at least from his position standpoint, which is the only real position that could give you this, is he's actually in a very watered down way teaching you the X's and O's of football based on things that are more complicated than what you hear from other broadcasters, and that's Tony Romo. I think Tony Romo was the best one. He's the best one because he is coming from a he has a freshness to him as a guy who was just in the NFL like 3-4 years ago. So he is still up to speed with the NFL's philosophy and terminology that coaches are still using. Same here. I mean, I retired 2014, 2015. That season, I retired at the end of the 2015 season. So, I do still, like, the lingo is all the same. Like, it's still the same. It hasn't changed. So, when I hear him talking as a broadcaster, I hear him saying things that really do make sense, because that is what's going on the field. Like, it is. Having played center, I mean, I've started a game at center in my career. I've been a center. I was a center as well as a guard. Like, in a worst case scenario where multiple people got hurt on the O-line, I would be the one to move to center because I can play it. If our center gets hurt, I would move into center when I was in Jacksonville. So when I hear him say some things that, pertain to the center as well, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. Jim Nance. Who was the best running back in the NFL? Best running back right now? I mean, is that really a question? King Henry. He's the best. He's the best running back in the NFL. Yeah, he's the best running back in the league right now. Best running back in the NFL is subject to change like every 2 or 3 years. Block for both guys. Who's better running back between Fred and Maurice? Best running back between Fred Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew? I played my first, when did Fred was there for, I think I played my first 2 or 3 years with Fred. My first 3 years with Fred, I think. I love Fred, man. I got a special, respect and, just a special level of honor of playing with Fred Taylor. Like, the dude is a legend. He was a fucking great running back too. Even when I was there in the latter part of his career, this guy was fucking running. I would be like, damn, Fred out here. I mean, we played against Indianapolis, and this cat just there he goes, 25, 30 yards, easy. He didn't even look like he was running that hard. And then here comes Mojo. There goes Mojo, another 15 yards. This cat, I mean, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't besmirch either one of these guys' names by saying one was better than the other. Fred Taylor is a legend. Maurice Jones-Drew is a legend in Jacksonville football. I think both of those guys are Hall of Fame running backs. Both of them. I think Fred Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame by this point. I think he'll get in. I think it'll take some time, but he'll get in. Maurice Jones-Drew was already nominated to be in the Hall of Fame when they did that 100th anniversary. They did a current player, one-time current player induction. I don't think that I don't know if he got it or not. I don't think he did, but he got nominated. But both those guys are absolute Jacksonville football legends, and there's no reason to pit them against each other, and there's no reason to say one is better than the other, because they both have great credentials as Pro Bowl players and as top-ranked running backs. So, I mean, that's as much as I can give you on that. All right, guys, that's gonna bring this one to an end, man. I think we've done an hour, 45 minutes. I think that's cool. It's Friday, man. We're trying to get the hell up out of here, trying to kick it on Friday. I know y'all want to go out and, catch a movie or something. Theaters back open. No mask wearing. I know it's time to go hang out again, folks. It's time. But I definitely hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Take care of each other. Be polite to your fellow citizens. you know, we all here together. We only got one life to live. Live it to the fullest. Have a good and great weekend, guys. And I will see y'all on Monday.